Hi, and welcome to Movement and Menopause. Today's class, we're going to focus on strength. Strong muscles equals strong bones. So we're going to play around a lot with that, with longer holds maybe in a couple of the poses, as well as just a lot of focus on that muscle energy and the action of just like hugging your muscle into your bone. We'll do like a little bit of press ups while in a balanced pose. It's going to be fun, I promise. So let's get started. We'll start in a seated position. So just make sure that you're comfortable. I'm going to start in a cross-legged position, resting my hands on my knees. And we're going to start with a cat-cow while we're seated. So start just by tucking your tail under, rounding through the spine, maybe using your hands to pull and round through the spine, drop your chin to your chest. And then again, using your hands to pull, we're going to curve the spine, maybe drop your head back a little bit, sticking your tail out. And then rounding through again for cat. Arching your spine for cow. And just move through this a little bit with your own pace. You don't have to follow my breath, just follow your own as you round and arch your spine. And then come to a neutral spine as soon as you're ready. And let's reach our arms up. Nice big inhale. Drop your left hand down to the side. Reach your right arm up first. Just get nice and long through the side body. And then crescent over to the left. And hold. Just feeling this stretch. If you want to walk your left fingertips out a little bit further, coming a little bit deeper. One more breath in and exhale. And then inhaling, come back up through center. And drop your right hand down to the right side, reaching your left arm up high, and then crescenting over to the right. Feel with every breath your ribs expanding, your belly expanding. Just taking that whole stretch a little bit deeper just by inhaling. Maybe walking the right fingertips out a little bit further, coming a little bit deeper. And then inhale, coming back up through center. And let's come to all fours. Just stacking your wrists beneath your shoulders, knees beneath your hips, maybe a little bit back, toes tucked or untucked. And we're just going to go through thread the needle. So I have a couple blocks. I'm just going to move that out of my way. I'm going to press down into my left palm, reach my right palm up, inhaling. And then exhale, threading that arm through between the arm and the leg and walking my left fingertips out to the front of the mat. Maybe pressing down into the fingertips just to open up through the chest a little bit more, deepening your twist. Just moving through all planes of the spine, between doing the cat-cow and the crescent and now a twist. And let's walk your hands back down next to your face and then pressing into that left palm, reach up again with your right hand to the ceiling and then drop your hand back down to the mat. And on your next inhale, reach your left arm up Exhale, threading the needle on the other side. So you're going to rest on your left cheek. Your left fingertips are out in front of your face. Right fingertips, we're going to walk up to the top of the mat and then press into the fingertips to deepen the twist. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. One more inhale and exhale. Let's start to walk your hand back down alongside your face. Take a deep breath in, reaching the left fingertips up to the sky, and then pressing down through both palms back down onto your mat. And let's take our right leg out behind us. Tuck your toes and just press your toes into the back of the mat, just stretching through that calf. We're going to use that calf muscle a little bit later. Press back, maybe even rocking back and forth in and out of that stretch. And let's lift that whole leg back up, trying to get it in line with your hips. Taking one deep breath in and exhale. And let's see if you can take your left arm and reach it up alongside your ear. And you want to hug everything in toward the midline, pulling your belly into your spine. Just making sure that that back leg is lifted high as your hips. One more deep breath in. Exhale, release your hand, release your knee back down to the mat, and let's get right into the other side. Pressing your left heel back and press through that heel so that you can stretch through the calf, and then release and press back and release. And maybe you're even using your hands to just help make it that stretch a little bit deeper, pressing your body backwards and come back. And let's lift that left thigh high as your hips. And just take a moment here before we raise our right arm to just feel our points of connection to the ground. And then when you are ready, reaching your right arm up alongside your right ear. Taking a deep breath in and exhale. Pressing your fingertips, your toes, your knee down into the mat, hugging everything into the midline, reaching forward with your hands and backward with your heel. Take a deep breath in and then release. Hand back down, knee back down. We'll take a quick child's pose. So untuck your toes, toes together, knees apart, hips down towards your heels, and then walk your fingertips forward. Okay, that's enough rest. Let's come back up to all fours. Bring your knees back underneath your hips. Tuck your back toes. Press up to downward facing dog. And let's settle in our dog a little bit before we start really moving. So we want to press into your finger pads, your fingertips. Squeezing your shoulder blades toward each other. And rotating your biceps towards the front of the mat. Bend in your knees deeply to stick your butt up to the sky. Take a deep breath in. And then maybe press your left heel down. And then lift that up and press your right heel down. And then with your breath, maybe pressing one heel down at a time, side to side, with the pace of your breath. And then come to stillness in the dog. And bend your knees, look forward, and slowly start to walk towards the top of your mat. In a forward fold, let's bring your feet maybe just slightly wider than hip distance. Bend your knees slightly and let your belly rest on your thighs. And grab opposite elbows if that's comfortable for you, or leave your fingertips on the mat and just start to shake your head yes and no. But just release any tension in your neck. Just let it hang. And release your fingertips down to the mat. Inhale, coming up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down all the way down, rise all the way up. Hands reaching to the sky, palms together. Exhale, bring them down to heart center. And let's take a breath. Take your hands up to the ceiling. Swan dive down towards the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, place your hands down, step your right foot back. Drop down to your knee. And then come up for Anjaneyasana. So both knees are in a 90-degree angle. Taking an inhale, reach your fingertips up towards the sky. And then maybe sink into that hip. So kind of bringing a bigger stretch into the front of your right hip. And reach your fingertips towards the back for a little bit of a back bend. And then exhale, bring both hands down to the mat. Place your right palm on the mat, left hand on your hip, and start to rotate your torso towards your left thigh, reaching your left hands up to the sky. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, dropping that hand to frame your foot. Tuck your back toes, and then step that right foot forward to meet the left. Forward fold. Inhale, come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down and rise all the way up. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, forward fold. Step back with the left foot. Dropping the left knee down to the mat and coming up for Anjaneyasana. Both knees initially in a 90-degree angle. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, drop those hips forward. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. And as we're going to start to talk about muscle energy, while you're in this, try to think about pulling that front leg back while you're pulling your back leg front. It just keeps a little bit of action and energy in the pose. And then on your next exhale, drop your hands to frame your foot. Left palm down onto the mat. Right hand to your right hip. Start to open up your torso to the right and reaching your fingertips up to the sky. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale, drop your hand to frame your foot. Tuck your back toes and step up, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, root down and rise all the way up. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, reaching all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Step back with your right foot. And we're not going to drop the knee this time. So we're going to take that muscle action again of squeezing front to back to front to come up to stand as steadily as we can, dropping your hands down by your side. So in this high lunge, let's talk about it for a minute. So all four corners of the front foot are firmly pressing into the mat. You're up on your back toes. Heel is kind of coming up as high as you can. That back leg, you want to press it up towards the sky while you come as close to a 90-degree angle in the front thigh as you can. Hips square to the front of the mat. And then see if you can maybe even sink a little bit lower. Keeping that action, squeezing front to back to front. Take a deep breath, reach your arms up to the sky. Let your shoulder blades drop down your back. Tuck your tail underneath you. Pull your belly into the spine. Squeezing back to front, front to back. One more deep breath in. Exhale, drop your hands to frame that front foot. Step back to plank. And let's try to hold the plank. You can always drop to your knees if you need to. So your feet are together, your legs are together, just zipping everything up towards the midline, pressing firmly down into your hands so that your shoulder blades separate on your back. Pulling your belly up towards the ceiling. And then just start to move your entire body, like use your toes to press your body forward and slowly lower down. So your elbows are pointing to the back of the room as you slowly lower down. Point your toes, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, squeezing your legs in toward each other, pressing your pelvis down. Take a deep breath in, coming up for baby cobra. Hold here for a breath. And then exhale, release. Tuck your toes, hands along your ribs, pressing yourself back up to plank, to downward facing dog. And then bend your knees, look forward, walk forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold. Inhale, reach all the way up. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhale, reach and lift. Exhale, swan dive down. Step back with your left foot this time. Squeeze back to front, front to back. Coming up as steadily as you can till your torso is upright. Four corners of the front foot are pressed firmly into the mat. Coming up that leg, you want to start to see towards a 90-degree angle. Back leg, high up on your toes, maybe your heels kind of pressing towards the ceiling, and then that back leg is being lifted up towards straight. Maybe sink your hips a little bit further. Tuck your tail underneath, pull your belly in, take a deep breath in, reaching up, and settle. Maybe a little bit deeper, squeezing front to back, back to front. Relaxing your jaw, relaxing your shoulders. Nice deep breath in. Exhale, dropping your hands to frame that front foot and step back to plank. Feet together, legs together, hug everything in, like even actively press your biceps toward each other to the point where maybe they're shaking. One more deep breath in and slowly lower down. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Point your toes, pressing into the tops of your feet, into your pelvis, squeezing everything in, coming up maybe a little bit more of a cobra. Squeezing your shoulder blades together and down your spine, squeezing the tops of your feet, pressing them deeply into the mat, maybe even squeezing your butt cheeks together. And then exhale, lower down. Tuck your toes and see if you can just press right up into your plank. So you want to just take a nice deep inhale and then exhale, press up and back to downward facing dog. And bend your knees and start to walk forward to the front of the mat. Forward fold. And let's take a moment here again to hang. So slight bend of the knees, resting your torso on your thighs. If you want to do that ragdoll where you're grabbing opposite elbows, shaking your head. Whew. That was just the warm-up. Okay, dropping your hands, fingertips to the mat. Take a deep breath in and come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. And exhale, palms to heart center. Okay, let us face the long edge of your mat. Wide legs. Just start. And I'm going to I'm going to turn my left foot to the top of the mat, right foot along the edge or slightly angled into the back of the mat, and then start to sink into that front knee. So we're just going to start with my hands on my hips here. So we're heading to like the warrior poses. So both feet are on the mat, so you want to have just as much energy going through this whole back leg and back foot as you do in the front. A lot of the warrior poses, people always focus on the front, but we want to make it on both. So front knee bent. All four corners of both feet are pressed firmly into the mat, squeezing back to front, front to back. And let's lift our arms into a T, looking out over the left fingertips. Tuck your tail underneath. Maybe even just take a peek back at those back fingertips. Make sure nothing's falling down. And hold, squeeze. Even think about like the action of like your quad muscles. Like, can you actually make them hug your bone? Like, activate them in that kind of way on both legs, not just the front. One more deep breath in, and then on the exhale we're going to drop our left knee to our left elbow to our left knee, reaching the right fingertips up alongside our ear. And keep that action in the lower half of the body. Squeezing those legs isometrically toward each other. Keeping the muscle energy moving. And on your next inhale, without changing any of the structure of your legs, let's come back up to warrior two. And then straighten that front leg, reach your fingertips out, and then drop them down to your shin, to the ground. I'm going to do to the block on the outside of my pinky, the pinky toe side of my foot, reaching my right fingertips up towards the sky. And here I'm trying to still keep a flat back. If you find that you're crouching too much, come up a little bit higher on the block or on your leg. This is one of those, like, be between a pane of glass. So if your back is bending forward too much, you're not going to be between that pane of glass. And here, the muscle energy you want to kind of think about is maybe pulling up on your kneecaps. I know some people hate that cue, but like that's kind of what it is. Like if you were to take your quads and pull your kneecaps up with them, that's what you're doing here. One more deep breath in. And exhale. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Bend back into that front knee. And then come back up to warrior two. Okay. Let's turn to the other side. I'm going to bring my block back to the back of the mat. So right foot facing out to the back of the mat, left foot parallel or slightly turned in to the back. And then let's sink down into the warrior two. So all four corners of both feet are pressed firmly down. You're using that energy, I'm going to say it 100 times, back to front, front to back, squeezing them toward each other, but also sink into that front knee, letting it come to that 90-degree angle and reaching your arms out to the side into a T. And hold. Press down, like use the action of pressing down through your feet, like you're going to try to reach down through the ground with your toes, with your heels. And hold and squeeze and shake, probably. One more breath in. And then on the exhale, let's drop your elbow to your knee and reach your fingertips up alongside your ear. And hold and squeeze. And hug that muscle to the bone. And press that left leg back and press down through the mat. Take a nice deep breath in and exhale. And then without losing the structure of your lower body, coming back to warrior two. And then straighten that front leg. Start to reach your right fingertips out and then dropping your hand to your shin, to a block, to the ground. Opening up through the chest. And then reach your left fingertips up towards the sky, pulling up on the muscles in the quads. Still squeezing back to front, front to back. Tuck your tail under. Let that left shoulder blade come down your spine. And then let's bring your left hand to your left hip, bending back in that front knee, coming back up through warrior two. And then drop your hands. Let's face both feet forward. So you're still on the long edge of your mat, still in a wide leg. Hands on your hips, and maybe just making sure that your ankles are below your wrists when you put your arms out into a T. And let's take your hands to your hips. And I want you to like hinge right at the hip joint, like kind of feel where it is in your body, and then start to hinge forward, sticking your butt back. And then drop your fingertips to the mat, to a block. And you don't have to go far. Just take a couple breaths in this forward fold. Again, sticking your butt back, squeezing your legs, kind of pulling them up, pulling the muscles up to your hips. So this way you're keeping activation in your muscles and you're not just letting them stretch beyond what they should be stretching. Take a deep breath in, coming up halfway. And then slowly, and I like to do it through bent knees a little bit, take my hands to my hips and coming back up to stand. And then let's go to the top of your mat. I'm going to get the block out of the way. Okay, top of your mat, feet facing forward, about hip distance apart. Take a deep breath in, reaching your fingertips up to the sky, and then let's sit back in the chair. So you don't want a huge rounding of the spine in the chair. You don't really want to like do too much of a arch in the spine. Just try to keep a straight spine, little bit of an arch, arms up alongside your ear. Take a deep breath in. Pressing down through your feet, staying in your chair. Let's bring our palms to heart center. Twist your torso over to the right and then hook your right elbow on your right knee. And then pressing firmly down into your right foot, very slowly pick up your left foot and step it towards the back of the mat. And you may fall, you may waver. And just get yourself set up in your high lunge twist. We never got out of the chair twist, so we're still just twisted. And then trying to keep the structure again in that lower body, coming back up to high lunge. Reach your arms up overhead. Settling into your hips. Take a nice big inhale. And then exhale your hands to frame your foot. Step back to plank. Take a couple of breaths in plank. And again, you can always drop to your knees, just as long as you're maintaining some power in pushing the mat away. One more breath. And then exhale and slowly lower down. Let's point your toes. Let's put our arms alongside our body, palms down, forehead to the mat. And start to squeeze your shoulder blades toward each other. So like lifting them up off the ground. Lift up your hands. And then lift up your head and neck in one line. So you don't want to be cracking your neck and looking up or letting it fall, trying to keep your neck in one line. And squeeze everything in to the midline. Hold and squeeze and hold and squeeze. And then let everything go. I'm going to flip my palms up and go rest my head on my right cheek. And let it relax. Let the mat beneath you catch you and be your support. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And then bring your forehead back to the center. Flip your palms back down. We'll do that again, squeezing your shoulder blades up and together, raising up your arms off the mat, bringing your head in line with your neck along with it, and maybe this time we lift our back legs too. So squeeze everything together, everything into the center. My legs are shaking, shaking, shaking. One more deep breath in and exhale, release. And then rest your head on your left cheek. And then take your hands to the base of your ribs. Tuck your toes underneath. Take a nice deep breath in, and we're going to push up to plank. So take a breath in now. And exhale up to plank. Press back to downward facing dog. And let's walk to the front of the mat. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rooting down, rise all the way up. Exhale, palms to heart center. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhale, sit back into your chair and hold, pressing the ground with the entirety of both feet. Sink your hips maybe a little bit deeper. Bring your palms to heart center. Turn your torso to the left and hook your right elbow onto your left knee. Still in your chair. Now in a twist. And now thinking about pressing all of your weight, all of the pressure in the left foot. Slowly start to peel your right foot up. And very gently, carefully stepping that foot to the back of the mat for a high lunge twist. One more deep breath here. And then keeping the structure of the lower body, coming back up to high lunge. Reaching your fingertips to the sky. One more deep breath in here. And then exhale. Drop your hands to frame your foot. Step back to plank. And hold. Squeezing everything into the center. Legs together, feet together. Arms, while they're not touching together, should be squeezing toward each other. And slowly, slowly, slowly lower down. Point your toes. And let's bring your arms out in front of you like a number 11. So coming up onto your forearms. Toes are pointed, tops of feet are pressing into the mat, your pelvis is pressing into the mat, kind of taking that weight out of the lower back. And then take your arms and without like actually moving them, start to pull them back. So that opens up the chest a little bit more, brings you more into the back bend. But then again, this is where you want to think about where you're pressing in to the tops of your feet and into your pelvis. Pull your belly into your spine, pulling those forearms back. One more deep breath in and exhale. And let's bring our palms back to the side of our chest, and we're going to just press back to child's pose. Knees wide, toes together, and let your head rest in between your arms. And just start to take some nice deep breaths in. And while we're not done, we can still start to slow our heart rate just for a moment. And let's come back up to all fours. And we're going to come to stand. So I'm going to press back on my heels. Actually, you know what? We're going to stop right here for a minute. So I'm pressing back on my heels. I really like this stretch for my feet, so we're going to do that first. So toes are tucked underneath me, and I'm going to sit back on my heels, trying to get my heels as close together as I can. That's very difficult for me. But with toes tucked, this is such a nice stretch for the bottom of my feet. It doesn't need to last long, but even if you did this for a couple of minutes a day, not even a couple of minutes, 30 seconds a day is probably enough. It is a very tough stretch to take. And then when you're ready to come out of it, just point your toes and sit back down. Okay, we're going to try to come to stand. Well, we're going to come to stand, but I want to try to do it in such a way that we're going to use our muscle energy. So let's come up off your heels. I'm going to step forward with my left foot, And then bring up my right foot. And there, we're standing. Not too bad. Okay, I'm gonna grab both blocks and place them at the highest setting at the top of towards the top of my mat. And then just stand kind of in between them. And let's just stand for a moment. Arms alongside in mountain pose. Okay. Let us step back with our right foot, but not all the way back, maybe like three quarters of the way back, halfway back. I'm gonna actually step myself back a little bit further just because I have a wall in front of me. Okay, so my left foot is in between the blocks. My right foot is like not a huge distance behind me, but a bit of a distance behind me. Let's get the hips square towards the front of the mat. And again, finding those hip points, start to fold forward. And then just letting your hands drop to those high blocks. So we are in pyramid pose. And we have a flat back. So we haven't gone too deeply into the pose just yet. And maybe this is deeply enough for you. Both feet are facing forward. Both legs have that muscle activation, kind of pulling that muscle to bone. Just take a deep breath in. And your palms are resting on the blocks. And if you start to feel like your hips are opening up to the right, which they will often do, just kind of roll that right hip forward and the left hip back. And let's take a deep breath in and see if you can sink your torso a little bit further down, still trying to keep that straight spine. And then inhale, coming back up to a flat back halfway. Exhale, lowering down. And we're going to keep that muscle action going in both legs. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, lower down. And seeing how your muscles are right now in your legs, if they're fired up enough, if you want to remove your hands from the blocks, whether you're in that halfway lift or even fold it a little bit more, moving your hands around, squeezing the muscles on both legs, and then you can place them back. Okay. So start to bring a little bit of a bend into that left knee. So we're going to put all of our energy into that left foot and lift up the right leg behind us. Right now I'm still using my blocks for support, but I'm going to try to let go and bring my hands to heart center. My left leg is really shaking right now. My right leg up behind me. And if you want to add a little bit more to it, bring a bend to the front knee and straighten. Bend the front knee, straighten. One more time, bend and straighten. And then let's bring the right foot back up to meet the left. Shake the shit out of that left leg. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. Okay. Let's do the other side. So right foot in between the blocks. I'm going to try to find a more stable place for my foot. Hopefully this will work. And then step that left foot back a bit. Starting at the hips. Let's try to make sure that your hips are squared forward. Start to hinge forward. Dropping your hands onto the blocks. So we're just going to start in this pyramid pose, hugging the muscles of your legs into your bones. If you feel you start to opening up your hips to the left, roll that right hip back, left hip forward. It'll make the tiniest move can make such a huge difference here. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and see if you can fold over just a tiny bit. Again, tiny moves in this pose make all the difference. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, fold forward, making sure your hips are still square. Both feet facing forward. Inhale, come up. One more fold. And then if you want to play with releasing your hands from the block, that can be, I'm going to do it in the higher setting of my torso right now. Trying to squeeze, pressing both feet firmly down into the mat, keeping my hips square. And that's enough of that. And then starting to bring a bend into my front knee. Seeing if I can lift that back leg up off the mat for Warrior 3. And palms to my chest. Lift that back leg up. Heel press towards the back of the room. And then maybe those little press ups. So bending the front knee and straighten. Bend the front knee. Straighten it back up. One more time. Bend the front knee. Straighten it back up. And then let's release the left foot to meet the right. I'm going to make my feet a little bit wider than my hips and do that forward fold again to just release any tension in my head and my neck right now. Grab opposite elbows if that feels good for you. And shaking your head yes and no. Okay, let's release our palms down to the mat and step back to downward facing dog. I'm going to kick my left leg up towards the sky. Bend the knee, open up the hip, stacking the left hip over the right. And then let's swing that foot to the outside edge of my left hand. And you can either stay up or come back or drop your back knee down. Forward lizard pose. So in lizard pose, I'm going to take that left foot and just point it to the top edge of my mat so it's up on a diagonal. I know you can't see it. Back knee, again, can be down. It can be up. I'm going to leave it down. And then the front knee, I can let it fall out to the side just a bit. And you can choose to stay up on your palms, or maybe elbows, forearms on a block, or forearms on the mat. And just take a few breaths here. I feel like I haven't done lizard pose in so long. One more deep breath in. And exhale. And if you're not already up on your palms, come back up onto your palms. And we're going to just heel toe that left foot over to the right side of the mat for pigeon. Dropping my shin somewhat parallel, not really, to the front of the mat. Tuck my back toe. I'm just going to lengthen through that back leg a little bit. Point the toe. And we're going to start with an active pigeon. So we've done this before, where I'm going to take that squeezing energy front to back to front, like front knee, back knee, and squeeze them toward each other just to bring my pelvis up way off the mat. Letting my fingertips dangle to the side and hold and squeeze and hold and breathe and then release. So taking that muscle action of squeezing everything in toward each other, you can release that. I'm going to come down onto my forearms, or again, forearms on a block is available. I'm just taking a few breaths here. One more Deep inhale and exhale. And coming back up onto your palms if you're not there already. Tuck your back toe and press yourself back up to downward facing dog. And then we're going to take our right heel and kick that up towards the sky. Bend the knee and open up the hip, stacking the right hip over the left. Maybe even reaching the knee up a little bit higher towards the sky. And then swinging that foot to the outside edge of your right hand, dropping that back knee, and then coming to lizard. So back toes can be tucked or untucked. I'm going to point that right toe even a little bit off the mat and let that right knee drop out to the side. And either staying up on your palms or coming down, forearms on a block. Let that right knee drop out to the side. I'm even just kind of rolling my foot to the outside edge of the right foot. And just settling into the lizard. And let's take 2 more really good breaths here. And 1 more inhale. And exhale. And coming up onto your palms. And then start to heel toe that foot across to the other side of the mat, letting your right knee drop down to your right wrist. And the right foot is on the left side of the mat. So again, I want to try to lengthen through my pigeon a little bit. I tuck the back toes and just make my leg a little bit longer. And then either staying up on your palms or coming down to your forearms on a block. And yes, I did forget the action, the muscle energy half of that, so we will go back to that in just a moment. Actually, let's go back to it now. If you're on your forearms, come up onto your fingertips, squeezing your front knee to the back knee to the front knee, letting your pelvis coming off the mat. Tuck that tail underneath. Hands can be draping along your side, maybe hands to your hips, and certainly if you need, fingertips to the mat. And then squeezing and holding, and squeezing and holding, and breathing. 1 more squeeze, squeeze, and release. And then let's come back down to forearms on a block. And releasing. And 1 more deep breath in. And exhale. And coming back up onto your palms. We're just going to let our right hip drop down to the mat and swing our legs around in front of us. I'm going to face the long edge of my mat, seated, but in a wide-legged position. I'm going to grab my block for this as well. Okay, so just taking a nice deep breath in. And we want to, again, focus on hinging at the hips, keeping a straight line in the back. Just start to fold forward, and this is where my block comes in because I am going to use it to rest my forearms on. Point your toes up towards the sky. Again, this is an active stretch. So we're not just letting the muscles go boing. We're going to try to boing and pull at the same time. Take a deep breath in And relax. And coming back up, upright torso. And let's turn our torso over to the left. So chest is going to start to go down towards the left knee. I'm going to walk my fingertips down that side. Just one hand on each side of my thigh, folding over that left leg. One more deep breath in. And exhale, maybe fold a little bit deeper. And then on your next inhale, coming up very slowly and turning your torso over the right. Take a deep breath in. And then slowly folding over the right leg. One hand on either side. And maybe you can use your hands to gently pull your chest down closer. Toes are still, again, pointing up towards the ceiling. Keeping that activity going. Muscle energy is the name of the game for strong muscles, strong bones. Take a deep breath in. Maybe fold a little bit deeper. And then slowly walking your hands back to center. And let's bring your feet together, knees apart. Just letting your knees fall out to the side. And holding on maybe to your toes or to the outside edges of your feet. Just take a deep breath in. And again, fold forward. Straight spine. You don't have to go too far. Deep breath in. Maybe a little bit deeper. And then on your next inhale, coming back up to a straight spine, and let's come onto our back. I'm going to grab a block so we're going to do a couple of bridges, and the second bridge we'll do with the assistance of a block. So feet flat on the floor, knees bent, tops of your arms along your side, forearms and fingertips pointing towards the ceiling like robot arms. Bringing your heels somewhat close to your butt. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use my block on this one too. If you can, try to use your block here. So we're going to do bridge, and I want you to take the block and just squeeze it between your thighs. Okay. So back to your robot arms. Press down into your heels and start to peel your spine up off the mat. And squeeze that block. Take both thighs and just squeeze it, squeeze it, squeeze it. This is going to help you just making sure that you're pointing your knees towards the back of your mat and that you're not letting your knees splay wide in your bridge. So pressing your hips up to the sky, squeezing your thighs in toward each other. One more deep breath in. And then exhale, slowly rolling it back down to the mat. And then I'm going to take the block out from between my legs. And I'm just going to lift my hips up off the mat just so much so that I can slide that block underneath and place it place my sacrum on the block. I'm going to let my arms rest alongside, shoulders resting onto the mat. And you can choose to either stay here in this supported bridge pose, or I'm going to take my feet off the mat, first just starting, bringing my shins parallel, and maybe you stay here, or I'm going to go a little step further and just legs straight up so that my heels are pressing towards the ceiling, flexing my feet so that my toes are coming to point towards my shin. So coming into this supported shoulder stand. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. So whether you're in the supported shoulder stand or supported bridge pose, just let that block be a support for you. One more deep breath in. And then exhale. If your feet were pointing up towards the ceiling, kind of bring them back to that 90-degree angle. And then 1 foot at a time, placing your feet back down onto the mat. And lift your hips up slightly, just so you can take that block out from underneath you. And then rest back down onto the mat. And let's take your hips as wide as your mat and just start to windshield wiper your knees side to side. And when your knees fall to the right, let them fall. And let's take that right ankle and drape it over your left thigh just to kind of enhance that stretch a little bit. It kind of pulls that whole leg down towards the bottom of your mat. Gets a nice big stretch through not just the outer edge of the thigh, but even like your side body. One more deep inhale and exhale. And then remove your right foot from over your left leg and start to go side to side just for a moment. And then when you go back to your left, letting both knees drop and then adding that extra stretch to that whole right side body. And just breathe. And then let's bring both of those feet back, not as wide as your mat. Let's let them kind of be somewhat in line with your hips, maybe slightly wider. Bring both knees into your chest. And let's do a little happy baby. So arms inside your legs, hands grabbing the outside edges of your feet. And maybe rock side to side. Gentle massage on the low back. And then when you're ready, legs out long to the outer edges of your mat, letting your feet splay out to the side, arms along your sides. If it's comfortable for you, feel free to close your eyes and see what it feels like in your body after all that. And just let your entire back body sinking into the earth. And you can feel free to stay here as long as you like. And when you are ready to come out, you can bend your knees, placing your feet flat on the floor, rolling over to one side, and taking a breath or two in the fetal position. And when you're ready to come out of that, pressing into your palm, gently coming up to a seat. Whatever seat is comfortable for you. And resting the outsides of your hands onto your thighs. In this receiving position, taking a nice deep breath and release. And we'll close with a couple of breaths together. So reaching your arms up towards the sky, take a deep breath in. Exhale, palms to heart center. And one more time, deep breath in, reaching up towards the sky. Exhale, palms to heart center. Hey, thank you for joining me and sticking through to the end. Namaste.